Before you take magnesium, D3 and K2, vital health advice for seniors. Shi Heng Yi. Before you take magnesium, D3 or K2, pause. These nutrients can heal, but only if you understand how they truly work together. Get it wrong, and they do more harm than good. Stay until the very end, because the last insight is the key to unlocking their real power within you. Powerful trio. We begin our journey with a simple, profound observation, one that is mirrored everywhere in the cosmos. In nature and within the miraculous universe of our own bodies, nothing of lasting significance is accomplished by a single actor. A forest ecosystem is not merely a collection of trees. It is a complex web of fungi, bacteria, insects, animals, light, and water, all in constant communication. A community does not thrive through the efforts of one person, but through the interconnected actions of many, each contributing a unique skill, a unique perspective. Our health, the very foundation of our human experience, is governed by this same profound law of synergy. It is a delicate dance of cooperation, a quiet symphony of elements working in concert. Yet, in our modern quest for efficiency and quick fixes, we often overlook this foundational truth. We are drawn to the idea of the magic bullet, the single nutrient, the isolated compound that promises to solve a complex and multifaceted problem. It is an alluring idea, but it is a flawed one. It mistakes a single note for the entire song. Today we will speak of three such elements, often lauded and taken in isolation, yet whose true magnificent power is only unlocked when they are brought together in harmony. These are not exotic, difficult-to-find substances from a remote land. They are humble, fundamental nutrients that are pillars of our biology: vitamin D3, vitamin K2, and the essential mineral magnesium. We will explore them not as separate entities on a checklist, but as a powerful trio, a synergistic team of master artisans responsible for the very integrity of our physical structure. To understand their relationship is to understand a principle that extends far beyond nutrition. It is a lesson in balance, interdependence, and the deep wisdom of seeing the whole picture rather than just the isolated parts. Let us use an analogy to bring this hidden world to light. Imagine you are the caretaker of a great and ancient temple, a structure meant to stand strong for a lifetime and beyond. This sacred temple is your body. For the task of maintaining and strengthening it, you have three master artisans. The first artisan is vitamin D3. We can think of D3 as the quarry master. This artisan's primary and most famous role is to go out into the world and gather the essential building material, in this case, calcium, and bring it into your temple's domain, your bloodstream. Without this diligent quarry master, the raw building material cannot even enter the construction site. It is an absolutely crucial first step, and for this reason, D3 has been given much deserved attention. We are told to ensure we have enough, and this is indeed wise counsel. But here is where a superficial understanding ends and a deeper wisdom must begin. The quarry master's job is only to deliver the stone. He is a specialist in acquisition, not allocation. He does not possess the knowledge of where each block of stone should go. He simply brings pallet after pallet of calcium into the main courtyard of the temple. This is where the second artisan, vitamin K2, reveals its elegant and indispensable purpose. K2 is the master sculptor and mason. This artisan possesses the blueprint, the vision. It takes the raw calcium that D3 has gathered and directs it with architectural precision. It says, this stone belongs in the fortress walls, in the support columns, in the foundation. It carefully places the calcium into your bones and teeth, making them strong, dense, and resilient. K2 is the director, the logistician, the wise guide who ensures the building material is used for its intended purpose, strengthening the structure rather than cluttering the grounds. Now we have the gatherer and the director. The work can begin, but who provides the energy for this monumental work? Who ensures the tools are sharp, that communication between the workers is clear, and that the entire operation runs with smooth, efficient grace? This is the vital role of the third artisan, magnesium. We can call magnesium the site foreman or the master facilitator. This mineral is the spark, the energy currency involved in hundreds of critical processes throughout the temple. Critically for our story, it is magnesium that activates the quarry master, vitamin D3. Without sufficient magnesium, D3 is like a worker ready to go, standing at the quarry gates, but with no energy to begin his task. Its potential remains dormant. Magnesium also directly supports the work of the sculptor K2, ensuring the entire process of building and repair can proceed without hindrance, providing the power for the intricate work of placing each stone correctly. So you see, this is not a story of one hero, it is the story of a perfectly integrated team. D3 brings the material, K2 places the material, magnesium empowers the entire process from start to finish. If you have only the quarry master, D3, you will have piles of stone, calcium, accumulating in the courtyard, creating chaos and getting in the way. If you have the quarry master and the sculptor, D3 and K2, the work can be done, but it will be slow, arduous and inefficient without the energy and overarching support of the foreman, magnesium. It is only when all three are present and working in balance that the temple can be built and maintained with strength, integrity and grace. This is the sacred synergy, the powerful trio. It is a blueprint for cooperation that we must honor if we wish to be well. This principle of interdependence is not just a clever analogy, it is a reflection of a universal law. We see it in the forest, where the mycorrhizal fungi, the roots of the trees, and the organisms in the soil are in constant communication, a subterranean internet, sharing resources to create a thriving, resilient ecosystem. We see it in our own lives, where our mental well-being, our emotional state, and our physical health are inextricably linked. You cannot address one in isolation without profoundly affecting the others. The modern approach to health often encourages us to be specialists, to focus on one single variable. But true, enduring wisdom encourages us to be generalists, to understand the relationships between the parts, because it is in those relationships that the magic truly lies. The conversation between D3, K2 and magnesium is a silent one, happening at every moment within you. It is a conversation about structure, about strength, about where to build and where not to build. Our role is not to shout orders or to force a particular outcome. Our role is to provide the necessary conditions for this conversation to happen harmoniously. It is the role of a wise steward, a humble caretaker who understands that the temple builds itself if only we provide the right materials, the right guidance, and the right energy. This is not just about bone health. This is about the foundational stability and flexibility of your entire physical being. When we begin to approach our well-being with this holistic mindset, the simple act of nourishing ourselves changes. It ceases to be a mechanical task of consuming isolated nutrients and becomes a sacred act of cultivating harmony. We are not just taking supplements. We are reintroducing the essential members of a vital team who may have become separated by the deficiencies and stresses of our modern lives. We are consciously restoring a natural, elegant, and powerful partnership. This is the first and most critical step, to see these three not as individuals but as an inseparable unit, a living testament to the cooperative nature of life itself. The strength they provide is not just in their individual actions but in their unified purpose. The silent imbalance. Now that we have established the beauty and profound logic of this cooperative dance, we must turn our attention to the shadows. We must understand what happens when the dance is disrupted. What happens when one dancer is thrust onto the stage under a bright spotlight, while the others are left behind in the darkness? This is not a discussion intended to create fear, but to cultivate wisdom. Fear is a paralyzing force that clouds judgment. Wisdom, on the other hand, is a guiding light. To act from wisdom is to see a potential problem not as a terrifying threat, but as an invitation to apply a deeper understanding and to restore balance with conscious intention. The greatest dangers to our health are often not the loud, sudden calamities, but the silent, gradual ones that accumulate from a small, persistent imbalance. Let us return to our temple analogy. We have celebrated the quarry master, vitamin D3, for his essential work of bringing calcium into our system. In our modern enthusiasm for more is better, we might decide to hire an entire army of quarry masters. We begin taking high doses of vitamin D3, believing that if some is good, more must be better. The courtyard of our temple, the bloodstream, begins to overflow with building material. Pallets of raw calcium are stacked high, blocking the pathways, spilling into the gardens and fountains. But in our singular focus, we have forgotten to hire the master sculptor and mason, vitamin K2. There is no one with the wisdom to direct this overwhelming abundance of material. There is no one to say, this belongs in the bones, this belongs in the teeth. What happens to this undirected, abandoned calcium? It does not simply vanish or wait patiently. It begins to be deposited in places where it absolutely does not belong, places it was never meant to be. Instead of reinforcing the temple's mighty walls, the raw stone begins to clog the intricate aqueducts and the delicate electrical conduits. This is what is known in medical terms as soft tissue calcification, most dangerously, arterial calcification. The soft, supple, flexible tissues of our cardiovascular system, our arteries and blood vessels, begin to harden. The very pathways that carry life-giving blood, oxygen and energy to every part of our temple become stiff, brittle, and narrowed. We set out with the noble intention of building a stronger structure, but through a critical lack of understanding, we have inadvertently begun to weaken its most vital infrastructure. This is the silent imbalance. It does not announce itself with loud alarms or flashing red lights. It is a slow, creeping process, a shadow that lengthens over years, a direct consequence of a broken chain of command within our own biology. Taking high doses of vitamin D3 without its essential partner, K2, is like flooring the accelerator in a powerful car with no one at the steering wheel. The power is certainly there, the engine is roaring, but it is undirected, and its potential for harm becomes as great as its potential for good. This is not a flaw in vitamin D3 itself. The quarry master is not at fault for doing his job too well. The imbalance, the danger, arises from our incomplete approach, from our myopic focus on one part of the system at the expense of the whole. And what of the foreman, the master facilitator, magnesium? If our magnesium levels are low, a very common state in the modern world due to soil depletion and processed diets, the situation becomes even more precarious and unstable. Not only is the quarry master, D3, less effective at his job to begin with, but the entire energy of the construction site is low. The few sculptors, the K2 that may be present, are overworked and lack the support and energy they need to do their intricate work efficiently. The body's innate ability to manage and clear out this excess undirected calcium is severely compromised. The silent imbalance deepens, not from a single point of failure, but from a cascade of small, interconnected insufficiencies. This teaches us a critical lesson, one that runs counter to much of modern marketing. The pursuit of health is not a matter of maximization. It is a matter of optimization and, most importantly, balance. More is not always better. The correct amount in the correct relationship with its partners is what creates sustainable vitality. Our modern world has inadvertently created the perfect conditions for this specific dangerous imbalance. We have less exposure to the sun, leading to a widespread need for D3 supplementation. At the same time, our diets are often severely lacking in the foods that are rich in K2, and our industrial agricultural practices have stripped our soils of magnesium, meaning our food contains far less of this master mineral than it did for our ancestors. We are therefore in a unique and challenging position. We are often attempting to correct one well-known deficiency, low D3, without being aware that we are simultaneously suffering from others, low K2 and magnesium. We apply a powerful solution to one part of the problem, and in doing so, we can inadvertently and silently worsen another. This is the inherent danger of looking at the body as a collection of parts, like a machine, rather than as an integrated, intelligent, living system. The body does not make mistakes. It simply and honestly responds to the conditions we provide for it. If we provide imbalance, it will have no choice but to manifest imbalance. The path forward, then, is not to fear vitamin D3. That would be a foolish overcorrection. It is to respect the Trinity. It is to understand deeply that when you invite one of these artisans to do their work, you have a non-negotiable responsibility to ensure their partners are also present and supported. This requires a profound shift in our thinking, from what single thing can I take to fix this, to what interconnected system can I support to create harmony. It is a move from simplistic reactive action to holistic proactive awareness. The silence of this imbalance is its power, but our awareness is the light that dispels that power completely. By understanding this relationship, we are no longer acting blindly. We are acting as conscious, informed caretakers of our own well-being. Nature's source, the wisdom of this trio, this elegant and harmonious system, is not an invention of modern science or a clever marketing story. It is a perfect reflection of a blueprint that has existed in nature for millennia. Before we ever spoke of supplements in capsules, our bodies understood this synergy implicitly because they obtained these elements from the world around us in a balanced, integrated, and holistic way. A supplement is a powerful tool, a helpful and often necessary intervention when our modern lifestyle makes the natural way insufficient. But we must never forget the source of the wisdom. We must never mistake the tool for the master. The primary source of our vitality is, and always will be, nature itself. Let us first consider vitamin D3, the sunshine vitamin. This name is not merely poetic, it is beautifully literal. The most profound, ancient, and natural way for our bodies to produce vitamin D is through the direct interaction of our skin with sunlight. This is a primal ritual, an act of communion. To stand in the sun is to engage in a direct, wordless conversation with our star. It is an act of receiving energy and information that our bodies have evolved over eons to understand perfectly. The photons of light touch our skin, and a stunning cascade of biochemical events begins, a beautiful alchemy that creates this vital hormone precisely where and when it is needed. When we get D3 from the sun, we are connecting to a rhythm that is as old as life on this planet. This sacred connection has been tragically frayed in our modern world. We live our lives indoors, in offices, in homes, in cars, shielded from the very source of this essential element. For this reason, supplementation can become a genuine necessity, a way to bridge the vast gap between our current lifestyle and our ancient biological needs. But even as we supplement, we should still honor the original source. When possible, allow your skin to feel the warmth of the sun. Even a few minutes of mindful, safe exposure is a powerful reminder of this fundamental connection. It is an act of returning to the original blueprint. Next, we look to vitamin K2, the great director, the master mason. Where did our ancestors find this crucial guiding nutrient? Its presence tells a story of transformation. It is most abundant in foods that have undergone a process of fermentation, or in animals that have done the transforming for us. One of the world's richest sources is a traditional fermented food from Japan called natto, made from soybeans that have been changed by a specific bacterium. K2 is also found abundantly in the fats of animals that have grazed on rapidly growing green grass, which is rich in a precursor, vitamin K1. The animals consume the K1, and their intelligent biology converts it into the powerful K2 that is then stored in their liver, their egg yolks, and the rich golden butterfat of their milk, especially in fermented forms like certain aged cheeses. Notice the profound pattern here. K2 is not found in sterile, highly processed, shelf-stable foods. It is found in living foods, in foods that carry an ancestral wisdom and a microbial intelligence. These are not the foods that dominate the modern supermarket shelf. Natto is an acquired taste for many Western palates. Pasture-raised animal products are far less common and more expensive than their factory-farmed counterparts. And so, our intake of the director has dwindled to almost nothing. We have an abundance of calcium in our diets from fortified foods and dairy, and we may be supplementing with D3, but we are often missing the crucial guidance system of K2. A supplement in this context becomes a way of reintroducing a lost piece of our ancestral diet. Finally, we consider magnesium, the master facilitator, the spark of life itself. This mineral is of the earth. It is the central atom in the chlorophyll molecule, the very substance that allows plants to convert sunlight into energy. It is found in the deep green of leafy vegetables like spinach and chard, in nuts and seeds like almonds and pumpkin seeds, and in legumes and even high-quality dark chocolate. It is meant to be abundant in our soil and therefore abundant in our food. However, modern industrial agriculture has changed the earth beneath our feet. Decades of intensive farming with synthetic fertilizers have stripped much of the essential mineral content from the ground where our food grows. The plants, in turn, cannot give us what they themselves do not have. An apple today does not contain the same nutrient profile as an apple from a century ago. So, even a person who eats a clean, seemingly healthy, whole food diet may still be operating with an insufficiency of this critical mineral. Our internal environment inevitably reflects the external one. Depleted soils lead to depleted bodies. Here again, supplementation can serve as a vital support, a way to consciously replenish what has been lost from our environment. It is not an artificial enhancement, but a necessary compensation for a systemic environmental deficit. When we look at it this way, supplementation is no longer about biohacking or trying to build a superhuman body. It is a humble and respectful act of restoration. It is a profound acknowledgement that our modern lifestyle, for all its technological comforts, has created significant nutritional gaps. The goal of a wise steward is to first turn to nature, to seek the sun, to eat the dark leafy greens, to find high-quality, pasture-raised, nutrient-dense foods, to eat in a way that is aligned with our deep biology, and then, with awareness and information, to use supplements as a bridge, a precise, intentional tool to support the body where nature, in our current context, falls short. They are not the replacement for a healthy life. They are the support system for one. Inner compass. With this foundational understanding of the trio's synergy, the perils of imbalance, and its origins in nature, we arrive at the most crucial and deeply personal stage of this journey, the practical application of this knowledge. It is here that we must transition from general principles to individual practice. And the single guiding rule of this transition is this: you must honor your own unique biology. The wisdom we have discussed is a map, a detailed guide to the terrain, but you must learn to read your own inner compass to navigate the territory of your own body. There is no universal prescription, no single dosage that is right for every single person on this earth. To claim otherwise would be an act of arrogance. To supplement blindly, based on a blog post or what a friend is doing, is an act of guessing. It is like a farmer throwing expensive seeds onto the ground without first knowing the condition of the soil. Perhaps the soil is already rich in a certain nutrient, and adding more would be wasteful or even create a harmful imbalance. Perhaps it is deeply deficient in another, and a small tentative amount of seed will not be enough to bear fruit. The foolish farmer blames the seeds or the weather. The wise farmer, however, first studies the soil. He gets his hands dirty. He learns its composition, its pH, its strengths, and its weaknesses. He acts based on direct information, not on hope or assumption. We must become this wise farmer for our own inner landscape. How then do we study our own soil? How do we listen to what our body truly needs beyond the noise of symptoms? The most direct and objective method is through measurement. A simple blood test, which can be ordered by any knowledgeable practitioner, can reveal your specific personal level of vitamin D, specifically 25-hydroxyvitamin D. It can give you a clear, unambiguous starting point. It removes the guesswork. It transforms the act of supplementation from a shot in the dark to a precise, informed, and respectful intervention. It tells you, with data, here is where you stand. Here is what is needed to restore balance. This is not about becoming obsessed with numbers on a page. It is about using information as a powerful tool for responsible and effective stewardship. The necessity for this individual approach is paramount because so many factors influence our nutritional status. Your unique story is written in your blood. A person with dark skin, rich in melanin, requires significantly more sun exposure to produce the same amount of vitamin D as a person with fair skin. Someone living in Seattle during the winter will have a vastly different need for D3 than someone living in Miami. Your diet, your genetics, your age, your stress levels, your gut health, All of these variables create a unique biochemical reality within you. To ignore this profound individuality is to ignore the very nature of your being. It is to treat yourself like a statistic rather than a unique individual. This principle of self-knowledge, of using an inner compass, is about genuine empowerment. The conventional model of health often places the power and authority outside of ourselves, in the hands of a generic recommendation, a government guideline, or a popular trend. It can encourage a passive state, where we simply follow the advice we are given without true understanding. The practice of mindful health, however, is an active one. It is a creative process. It asks you to be a co-creator and a conscious participant in your own well-being. It asks you to listen, to measure, to learn, and then to act with quiet confidence and intention. This doesn't mean you must become a medical expert or a biochemist. It means you must become an expert on yourself. It means cultivating a deep sensitivity to your body's subtle signals of distress and vitality. It means seeking out objective data when necessary to confirm your intuition and guide your choices. It is a beautiful partnership between your own inner awareness and the incredible tools of modern science. When you get a blood test, you are not just getting a number. You are opening a dialogue with your body. You are humbly asking, what do you need to find balance? How can I better support you? And the body, in its own silent language of chemistry, will answer you clearly. Once you have this vital information, you can then apply the principles we have discussed with intelligence. If your vitamin D level is low, you know that when you supplement to correct it, you must ensure you have a consistent and adequate intake of its essential partners, K2 and magnesium. Your dose of D3 will be tailored to your specific level of deficiency, not a generic number from a bottle, and you can retest after a few months to see how your body has responded, adjusting as needed. This is a dynamic, responsive process. It is a dance of listening and responding, of action and observation. This approach cultivates a profound sense of responsibility and connection to your physical self. You are no longer just a passenger in your body, hoping for a smooth ride. You are the navigator. You hold the map of wisdom, and you are learning to read the compass of your own biology. This is a far more rewarding and sustainable path than simply following the latest health fad. It is a path of self-discovery, of discipline, and of deep personal care. Trust your inner compass. Seek the knowledge you need to use it well. And then, act not from a place of fear or blind hope, but from a place of clear-eyed, informed wisdom. Mindful practice. We have journeyed through the elegant science of this powerful trio, the silent dangers of imbalance, the deep wisdom of nature, and the absolute necessity of self-knowledge. We arrive now at the final and perhaps most important piece of the puzzle, the spirit in which we undertake this practice. For how we do something is often far more important than what we are doing. The most potent nutrient, the most perfectly formulated supplement, can be rendered less effective if it is consumed within a mindset of stress, haste, or mechanistic indifference. The ultimate, most powerful nutrient you can give your body is your own undivided attention. Consider the common way we perform this act. A bottle of pills sits on a cluttered kitchen counter. In the frantic morning rush, we grab it, shake 1 or 2 capsules into our palm, and swallow them with a quick gulp of water, our minds already racing ahead to the first meeting of the day, the emails in our inbox, the endless list of tasks. The act is mechanical, thoughtless, and unconscious. It is a chore to be completed, a box to be checked off a to-do list. In this state, we have provided the body with the physical substance, but we have neglected to provide the very context that gives it meaning and power, our presence, our gratitude, our intention. Now, let us imagine a different way. Let us consciously transform this mundane act into a mindful practice, a daily ritual of self-care. It does not require more time, only more presence. In the morning, you consciously pick up the bottle. You pause. You take 1 deliberate breath. For just a moment, you are not thinking about the day ahead or the day behind. You are here, now, with this simple object in your hands. You dispense the supplement. You look at it, resting in your palm, and for a second you bring to mind its purpose. You acknowledge what this small capsule truly represents. This small object is not just a pill. It is a symbol of the sun's distant energy. It is a representation of the earth's rich minerals. It is a concentration of nature's cooperative wisdom. It is a tool you have chosen with care and intelligence based on a deep and respectful understanding of your body's specific needs. It is a tangible act of self-respect. It is a quiet promise you are making to your physical vessel, a commitment to provide it with the support it needs to be strong, resilient, and vital. In this moment, you can feel a genuine sense of gratitude. Gratitude for the knowledge you have, for the ability to care for yourself, for the body that serves you so tirelessly day in and day out. Then you take the supplement, but you do so with this rich awareness. The act is no longer mechanical, it is intentional. It has been elevated from a chore to a sacred ritual. This small 2-second ceremony changes the entire experience. It sends a powerful signal to your nervous system, a signal of safety, care, and conscious partnership. The state of your biology is different. You are not operating from a state of stress or rush, the sympathetic nervous system, but from a state of calm, deliberate purpose, the parasympathetic nervous system. This state of being, this coherence between mind and body, is the optimal environment for digestion, assimilation, healing, and nourishment. This practice of ritual is a form of quiet discipline. It is the discipline of presence. It is the conscious choice to infuse the small, repetitive actions of our lives with beauty and meaning. We can apply this not only to taking a supplement, but to everything. The way you drink your first cup of tea in the morning, the way you prepare a meal for your family, the way you walk from your car to your front door. Each moment is a fresh opportunity to be present, to be intentional, to be mindful. When you live in this way, your entire life becomes a practice of well-being. Your health is not separate from the rest of your life. It is the direct expression of how you live your life, moment to moment. By bringing this level of consciousness to a single small act like taking a vitamin, you begin to train your mind. You are cultivating the muscle of awareness. And this awareness will inevitably begin to permeate other areas of your experience. You will become more sensitive to what your body needs, more attuned to the foods that truly nourish you, more aware of the thoughts and emotions that either strengthen or weaken you. The supplement itself is a humble tool. The true power lies in the consciousness you bring to it. This mindful practice is what turns a simple nutrient into a profound act of self-care. It aligns your physical actions with your mental and emotional intention, creating a state of inner harmony that goes far beyond the biochemical interactions of D3, K2, and magnesium. It reinforces the deepest understanding of all, that you are the steward of this magnificent temple. You are not just its resident, you are its dedicated caretaker. And every act of care, no matter how small, resonates with gratitude through the entire structure. This journey is not about fearing the natural process of life, but about honoring your vessel every step of the way. These elements are not magic pills. They are humble tools to support a structure that is ultimately built by your awareness and your discipline. The ultimate nutrient is your attention. Approach your health as a daily practice, and you will cultivate not just a longer life, but a more vital and meaningful one. Beyond supplements, what is one small, mindful ritual you practice daily to honor your health?